We are going to be talking all things labels. And I am a huge believer that labeling helps you keep your organizing in tow. What I mean by that is when every single thing and place in your house is labeled, you have no choice but to put those items back where they belong. There is no question of where something should go. No family member or guest in your home is going to question where something should be placed because you labeled it. But there are so many different ways to label everything that we're going to talk about some of my favorite labeling methods in this video. First one I'm going to talk about, because this is the one that I get asked the most, is about label makers. So I use the P-Touch Cube. I personally like this one because it links up to my phone. I can create all the labels. I also have, all sorts of different cartridges that I can replace with, like, this one is black and white, and it comes in some other colors like red, yellow. It's Bluetooth, so it makes it really easy if, like, I want to create labels from my phone or from my computer, and I have this in a different area of the house. It can just, like, easily go to my P-Touch, and I just have to charge it, after a couple of uses. That's it. I get a long life out of my P-Touch. Another label maker that I do like is called the Tepra. It is a washi tape labeler. So what that means is washi tape is kind of similar to painter's tape. So it doesn't really like stay on your surface forever. It is a great kind of colorful way to label things. There is also some other label makers that have fun label paper. So these are the two label makers that I own. I have also tried out some other label makers. I've just found that the P-Touch Cube has been one of my favorites. They do have a P-Touch with like a whole keyboard. I do love that one too. I've had clients that have had it and we've had massive success with it. Children can use it because of the keyboard. It's kind of why I like this one too. But with the Tepra, the labels don't stay on as long as they do with the P-Touch. These aren't meant to be like long-lasting labels. So if you want like temporary labels, this is a perfect option. This one is far more permanent. I've found it is a little more difficult to get it off. You can just use a hair dryer to kind of get the sticky part off of anything that you do label. So it is fine. You can get the labels off, but it does take a little more effort using the P-Touch. So I use the P-Touch for more permanent projects. I use the Tepra for more temporary. Another type of label are bin clips. So these are the ones from the Container Store. There are also some from Target. You can buy them online. There are a lot of companies that create bin clip labels, and I love them because they fit on your bins. Seriously. So the bin clips work really well for baskets, for bins. We use them for drawers as well. And you just take and stick it on. And now your basket's labeled. Now with this, sometimes you do have to pull them a little further so that like this basket is, there we go. So this basket has a thicker lip. So because of that, you do have to kind of play with them, but they are metal, so they basically like are flexible and can go back and forth. So I do love these labels. The downside to these labels is one, you either have to write or print out by yourself because they don't come pre-labeled. You do have to write on these, so if you don't love your handwriting, then this might not be the best option for you. You can use a label maker to go on the bin clip. You can use vinyl labels to put on. You can use sticker labels. You can also type out a label using fun font, cut it out and slide it in to these labels. That's why I like the ones from the Container Store because you can slide in and out paper on those. These ones are from Target and they work really well on the canvas bins. But with these, you do have to hand write on them. Label Maker does work as well, but again, it's small and these are not permanent. Bin clips are not permanent types of labels because you can swap out what goes in where. And a downside to bin clips is they do come off. If family members are not the tidiest or the most observant, then these bin clips could easily fall off. I had an in-home client, we put a whole bunch of bin clips on, but her family just did not care about the bin clips. So most of the time when I would go back to kind of tidy up her pantry, the bin clips were all in a pile. So bin clips might not work if your family is not going to keep the bin clips on the bin. But I personally love them for bins because they are bendable. They fit on most bins, most drawers, baskets. I do love them for that reason. There are also ways in which you can make bin labels as well. These are from a local craft store. They are like chalkboard tags, and you can just string some string and add it to a bin. For that client I talked about earlier, we added these instead, and it helped so much because they were tied directly onto the bin. So her family had no choice but to keep them on. There was no pulling them off because they were tied on. With these, again, you will have to use your own handwriting, but you can also get stickers and sticker paper and stick them on the tag. And then you have a pretty fun font. You can print it out in different colors, and it looks pretty that way. And then these are another great option for labeling your stuff. This is chalk tape. I love this because you can cut it to size and write on it with the chalk pen. Then to erase, you just use like Windex and it comes right off, which is why I love the chalk tape. It works really well for places where you might switch out stuff frequently. This is not waterproof, so I don't recommend it in a pantry. I've used this a lot in garages. If you switch things up in the garage, it's a great option. On bins, like storage bins, this is a great choice to keep things organized. And then it's really easy just to wipe off the chalk marker and then rewrite whatever goes into that bin. Like holiday items, perfect for adding labels onto holiday items. Now, if you want to go like really fancy, vinyl labels are probably one of my favorite. I think they look the cleanest. I think they look super fancy, but they do and can come at a price. You can buy them on Etsy. There are sellers that sell specific vinyl labels. But if you do decide on vinyl labels, I would highly recommend putting it on places that are far more permanent, or use generic terms as well. So we use vinyl labels in our refrigerator because most of our drawers don't really change. We keep them the same. I also use vinyl labels in our bathroom, our linen closet, on bin clips in the kids' bedrooms, and on their drawers in their bedrooms as well. So I am a big fan of vinyl labels, but I also have a vinyl label cutting machine. So that's why I choose to do that. If you do label like your refrigerator, which it really helps keep things organized in your fridge. If you do, group it like you'd find at a grocery store. So do like deli, and then that could be all the cheeses and all the meats. You could do breads, baked goods, leftovers, condiments, just more generic for the shelves, the drawers, and on the door to keep everything organized, but use more generic terms. And that way your investment in the vinyl labels is going to totally be worth it. Another thing I like to use are wine pens. These bad boys are amazing. So they were originally created to write on wine glasses so you knew whose wine glass was whose. But I found that they work perfect on those OXO containers. So whenever we have a snack, I write what it is on top in an OXO container. Then my kids can read it. It wipes off really easily just with soap and a little bit of scrubbing. Anything that I pour into those OXO containers or glass jars, like flours or powders, I can write recipes on the back using the wine pen so I don't have to save the box. It actually ends up saving me space inside my drawer where I store all of my baking items, because the container that I hold all of those things in can easily line up in a specific manner in my drawer, which is why I love labeling them all with wine pens. You can get these on Amazon. The Container Store sells them. Most places sell a type of wine pen. I would test it out before you use it on any of your products just to make sure. But I found on these particular ones are wine glass writers. These particular ones, I've also linked them below, are pens that I found work wonders on OXO containers. So I label them all. I found them super helpful. Also, I write on our glass Tupperware the date of a leftover so that I know how long it has been in our refrigerator. You can also do it on the freezer. Also write them on items in your refrigerator. Picture labels is another one of my favorite ways to make labels. Typically, I make picture labels for kiddos. So I take all the items out of the bin, I lay it in front of a window, and then I snap pictures using my phone right above the picture. I print out those pictures, and then I laminate them and add them to the bin using a binder ring clip. I found that this is super helpful for kiddos so that they can figure out what goes inside each bin. Another option for labels are name bubbles. I love name bubbles. I think they are amazing labels. They have erasable labels, which are dishwasher safe, which is why I love them. You can put them on items that go in your freezer, so you can write the date, or what's even in like canisters that go in the freezer for any like leftovers or any of that. You can write on those, and then it isn't going to stain your Tupperware lid because it's washable. It can also go in the dishwasher. Okay, I also have printable labels in my shop. Now, these labels are amazing and they are super easy for you to create and print off yourself. So just go into the shop and then you're going to print off the labels that you're going to use. I like using the Silhouette sticker paper. I found that it works the best for printing off labels when you use your at-home printer. Then you're going to cut out all of the labels, attach them to a bin clip, maybe directly to a bin, whatever it is you want to do, and then boom, you are labeled with super fun and beautiful prints. Also, there are printable labels that you can create yourself. So I love Avery. I think their labels work wonders and you can make them within Word. So find the type of paper that you are going to be printing off on. Then select that within your Word document. Inside, you are going to type up all of your labels. So download a font that you want, select all of the labels, and then print. Now you can turn that printable into labels anywhere in your house, and now everything's going to be organized. It is so exciting. So with all of these different labeling options, you have to first determine what is your goal for labeling the item. How long does it need to stay in that particular spot? And who needs to read it? So if you have young kiddos looking to, keep a space organized and you want to label that, well, make sure you have pictures and words. If it's just for a housekeeper or maybe your in-laws, then use labels with words, but they don't need to be as big. So maybe a label maker might be better for those particular areas. What I found is when you look at your space and decide what and how you want to label it, it will lead you directly to the type of label you need to make. Most of the time in the kitchen, a label maker is perfect. Bin clips work well for, shocking, bins. The tag labels work well for bins that may not be able to hold any of the bin clips. Chalk tape is great for labeling things that you need to change out what actually goes in there. Same with line pens. I love picture labels for kiddos and using sticker labels in case I don't like my handwriting. I have so many more ways to label down below, so make sure you check that out. Love what you see? Don't forget to subscribe. New videos every Wednesday.